Is your debt causing you sleepless nights? Knock your debt out with Debt KO. And your debt won't be the only thing keeping you up at night. Debt KO, free impartial advice on all your debt.
There you go.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, please do.
Okay, all good. Ready, Bob? Yeah. Okay. This is UMAR AHMED for IFL TV in association with MTK Global via Zoom. I'm joined by promoter Bob Arum. Bob, your man Josh Taylor makes his top-ranked debut finally in an awkward situation, but nonetheless, he makes his debut. And I know you see him as a very, very special fighter. How excited are you about his debut tomorrow night?
Well, Josh is a terrific fighter and a great personality. And I think that we have some major matches planned for him for next year. But first things first, people in the United States will be able to see his fight on ESPN Plus, and should be a big audience. And then we look forward to Ramirez next year. And if he gets by that, to Terence Crawford. So he has a lot of big fights next year. He's got to win this fight on Saturday.
Definitely. He's got to take care of his mandatory Kong song tomorrow night, live on ESPN in the States and BT Sport in the UK. But as you said, the likes of Ramirez and Crawford are looming for him in the future. But there is a mandatory situation as well for Ramirez and Jack Catterall. Are you potentially looking at paying Jack Catterall to step aside to make that Josh Taylor-Ramirez fight, Bob?
No organization worth its salt, which the WBO is, great organization, is going to stand in the way of a match that unifies all four titles. Mandatories were important because they prevented a champion from ducking a worthy challenge. I don't want to talk about Catterall. Nobody knows who the hell he is here in the United States. He's never beaten a world-class fighter. The fact that he's a mandatory, I don't understand. But I don't want to get into that. Point is, I am absolutely sure that the WBO will not stand in the way of a unification match, which gives boxing fans all over the world something that they all want, and that is one man with all the titles.
So you're assured that if Josh comes through tomorrow night that we get Taylor Ramirez next?
Absolutely. Because it would be an absolute travesty to prevent that fight happening because Catterall is a mandatory. Now, it may very well be that the WBO conditions the Taylor Ramirez fight on the basis that the winner has to fight Catterall. I mean, that probably would be a good solution. But again, everybody wants to see Taylor Ramirez, period. And worst comes to worst, and I don't think it'll come to worst, if Catterall, the WBO, insists on that fight happening next, then Ramirez and Taylor will go ahead with their fight, and so it'll be for 3 titles. But I don't think that the WBO, which is a great organization, will allow that to happen. So I'm very confident that the next fight is Ramirez and Taylor.
Okay. Of course, as I said, Josh makes his top-ranked debut tomorrow night. How have you coped with the situation? I'm in Frank's bubble right now. I have been for the week, and it's been run smoothly by Frank Warren's guys. But how have you dealt with it being abroad in a situation where there's no fans for Josh on Saturday night?
Well, what are you going to do? I mean, if that's not a great situation, doing a fight with no fans in attendance. I mean, obviously fans watch it on television. But again, it beats the alternative of no fight at all. So you got to be grateful for whatever we can get. So I'm glad this fight is happening. I assume that the Thai guy can fight. But again, it's another situation of nobody knows who the hell the Thai guy is, who he's fought. For me, these organizations have to stop wasting everybody's time with these stupid mandatories that really make no sense. If we had our druthers, even in this time, we would find a fairly well-known junior welterweight to fight Taylor, which would make a more interesting match. That being said, I mean, this is like opening up a box of Cracker Jacks and not knowing what the prize is inside, because who the hell ever heard of this Thai guy? I mean, let's be honest about it. What the hell are they? I mean, it's one thing, these organizations make mandatories. They have the promoters putting it on. The promoters pay the money. If you want to make mandatories with guys that nobody ever heard of, why don't these organizations pay for it?
Bob, you know he's in the room next to me, Kong Song.
I mean, he could be a good fighter. Who the hell knows? Have you ever seen him fight live?
I've seen, not live, no. I've seen clips on YouTube, and he looks a decent fight. But as you know, we haven't seen who he's fought, really.
Opponent. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Jesus, Catterall, again, he may be a decent fighter, but who the hell has he fought? Nobody ever heard of any of these guys, and look how many fighters he fought who've had losing records. I mean, give me a break. I mean, and look at these organizations. The WBO has him rated number 1. Another organization has him 11. And the other 2 organizations don't even have him rated. I mean, give me a break, for Christ's sake. I mean, is this helping the sport?
Anyways, Bob, let's move on to some more positive news. You announced one of the best, well, I think the best fight of the year in Vasyl Lomachenko and Teofimo Lopez next month. What a cracking fight next month, Bob.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm grateful that we're able to get this fight on, thanks to ESPN, which is putting up the money to pay the fighters, and they're getting paid very well, maybe not as well as they might have gotten if we had gates and that type of thing, but we don't. But I'm looking forward to the fight, and I think every boxing fan is looking forward to the fight. Of course, that's without the UK, because I don't think any of the television networks in the UK have bothered to buy that fight. I mean, so it's one thing for you to talk about what a great cracking fight it is and so forth. And where's Sky? And where's BT? And where's ITV? I mean, if it's such a great fight, how come nobody's bought it?
I find that pretty ridiculous that no UK broadcaster has picked that up yet. Surely, Bob, there's been some interest from a UK broadcaster.
None. 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 What does that tell you about the state of the sport? Meanwhile, every bit of Eddie's junk goes on Sky, and they make the poor fans in the UK shell out money to watch all of this stuff. Does Usyk and whoever and Chisora, is that a pay-per-view fight? I mean, in which world is it a pay-per-view fight? The networks in the UK are just taking money from the boxing fans and they're not giving back. Fight like Usyk and Chisora, which may very well end up to be a good fight, that should be free on television. A television network that is doing boxing should buy a Lomachenko Lopez fight, which is a classic lightweight championship for all 4 belts. If you're into boxing, don't turn it down because you're not going to be able to monetize.
Well, I do find that surprising because you speak to boxing fans in the UK and you ask them what fight you're looking forward to. A lot of them would say Lomachenko Lopez. I can't believe a broadcaster hasn't picked it up yet.
Because the broadcast networks, those involved with boxing, are money grubbers that just look to put on events where they can take money from the fans. Wake up. Wake up. Why are all these fights now on pay-per-view? Because it's a money grab. And look at the difference in the States with ESPN, where you get all these terrific fights which don't cost the fans 5 cents. That's saving the sport. In other words, you've got to start putting events on for free, the good events, the great events, to give fans the opportunity to watch these fights without going into their pocket. Now, I don't know what the economic situation is in the UK, but over here in the States, people are out of work. The economy is in the shithouse because of this coronavirus. I think it's probably somewhat the same in the UK. So what the hell are these networks reaching into the boxing fans' pocket week in, week out for fights that don't even belong on pay-per-view?
We're 3 weeks out from the fight, Bob. Is your gut feeling saying that it won't be on UK television, that fight?
I'm not going to give it to them for nothing. I'm not going to charge them a big, big price. But somebody's got to contact us, and because we've contacted everybody, and say, yes, we want to show it, and we'll pay a normal license fee for it. Because as a boxing promoter, it's not the amount of money that the networks would pay, because I could see coming over at an odd hour in the morning, they may not want to pay a lot of money. That's okay, but pay me something and show this fight. What the hell is wrong with you? How can you be a supporter of boxing like these networks claim they are and not to buy a fight like Lomachenko Lopez? It's an outrage.
Yeah, I agree with that, Bob, totally.
And even if they give me this, even if they said, look, we'll give you the money, but you give it to charity, I'll be happy to do that. I'm just not going to give it for nothing.
Mm. Okay, reports coming out tonight that Crawford Brook is done for November 14th. What can you tell us about that, Bob, please?
It's getting close to being done. What is the problem getting it done? ESPN is putting up the money for the fight, a lot of money, right? Kell Brook is one of the top fighters in the UK. He's at a great... You can't get a UK network to step up and buy that fight. Why? What is wrong with the people over there? I just don't understand. I mean, maybe I'm missing something.
I don't think you are, Bob. I think you're right.
I've been in this business for so many years because these networks don't give a crap about the boxing fan except to grub money.
I mean, that's involving a Brit, though, like Kell Brook, who's very well known here. Surely that's got to land on BT pay-per-view if Sky don't want it.
Well, again, it's up to you people who represent the boxing fans and so forth to kiss, to make a fuss. Because what's happening now is a disgrace to boxing, particularly in a country which has the best, most rabid boxing fans, and that's the UK and Ireland. I mean, I think, to me, what's happening is outrageous. I mean, look at Sky. I mean, they're locked up with Eddie Hearn, and why? Because Hearn puts all of the crap, and some good fights, of course, but a lot of the crap on and charges pay-per-view prices for those fights. I mean, give me a break. I mean, that's just not fair, and if that's will one day lead to the demise of the sport in the UK.
Is your debt causing you sleepless nights? Knock your debt out with Debt KO. And your debt won't be the only thing keeping you up at night. Debt KO, free impartial advice on all your debt.